Hello, welcome to another briefing. So in this briefing, I'm actually starting out with a forecast for the surface chart, for what the surface chart is supposed to look like by 4 p.m. today. And this is giving us a good idea of what we have forecast for. I'm going to focus in, of course, on California. In this briefing, we have a lot of snowfall going on in the northeast, but my briefing will be way too long if I try to get into that. So what we're going to do is focus on this rainfall coming into California today. Some snow for very high elevations on the Sierra Nevada, but this is a pretty warm air mass with this particular system. So I wouldn't expect much snow for places like Tahoe and such, unfortunately, with this round. Um, but what we are going to see is a lot of, not a huge amount, but a rainy day as we go into New Year's Eve and then into New Year's as well. We're going to be expecting quite a bit of consistent rain, and that's mainly due to this warm front over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and show this on satellite. And you can't see the fronts here, but you can see roughly where they are. So warm front developing right about here. Cold front would be down here. It's a bit of an occluded front here, which is when the cold front ends up overriding the warm front, but that's, I'm not going to get too technical, I'm not going to get into that. Yeah, and then if I put the radar overlay, sorry about that noise, I put the radar overlay right here, you can see there are bands of precipitation starting to make their way in pretty much all the way from the Mexican border all the way up to, at this point, north of the Bay Area. It looks like into parts of the northern Central Valley, parts of Mendocino County, and the Sierra Nevada as well. There's just a steady light to moderate rainfall, which is very typical with warm fronts because you get that warm air slowly overriding the cold air, or sort of sliding underneath the cold air, if you will, as the cold air begins to slowly retreat, and that rising motion um, of that warm air sliding up and over the colder air is what causes a lot of these light to moderate rainfall inducing clouds such as nimbus stratus. So, moving forward here, we got current observations in the Bay Area for wind. I mean, temperatures are right around 50. There's not going to be much change with that throughout the day. There's some wind up in the hills and mountains, east to northeast wind ahead of that low pressure system. We can see that depicted on the national blend of models here. You can see that east to northeast wind on the streamlines as we put this projection into motion. You see as we go into tomorrow morning, it switches to more of a south wind, breezy at times, nothing super strong, nothing like we had last week. And then as we go into Friday, we could get some stronger winds as we have our next weather system coming in by then. But that's a completely different system. So for now, I'm going to just focus on what's going on right now. I'm going to actually show you the projected radar for the Bay Area. And you can see here, this is the NAM model, so take it with a grain of salt. It's one model, it might not play out exactly like this, but we get the idea that as we go throughout the day today, lots of steady rain into midnight, into New Year's Day, another band of steady rain throughout the overnight hours here. And then there could still be some spotty showers tomorrow. And I'm just going to go ahead and take a look. Compare this to other models here, just real briefly. Let's look at the HRSS, shows that as well. Kind of some showers continuing throughout tomorrow. And then the national blend, same thing. Okay. So it's likely that we are gonna have some scattered showers into tomorrow, even to tomorrow night. I guess it's looking here like most of the day tomorrow really is gonna seem we're gonna still be dealing with some scattered showers. Zoom out a little more here to just get a better picture. Yeah. I think we're gonna see. Let me see what that would entail here. Yeah, so that's when the cold front, see, 4 p.m. Thursday, you have that occluded front actually making its way through. So you have those showers would be associated with that. And then you have here's 4 a.m. Friday. You can kind of see offshore, you can see the next system starting to get organized. There's a 994 millibar low off of the coast that's going to drag in the next cold front. And then we can look at the European long-range model here to get an idea of that. So here's that initial system. Here's that warm front as we go into tomorrow. Yeah, see, there's actually tonight into tomorrow, and then you see those lingering showers there tomorrow as that occluded front comes through. See, this is the occluded front, this is a cold front there, and this is a warm front here. So that the core piece of that system will be moving through tomorrow as we're already getting the prefrontal showers, if you will, today. And then tomorrow is the actual front. This doesn't look very, it's not extremely wet. It's not extremely windy. It's not like what we had last week, and it's not as strong as the one behind it. See this one over here. That's what's going to come in roughly Friday into Saturday. Now I'm going to put this projection into motion. You can see that thing starting to come in by 10 p.m. Friday, or I mean even 4 to 7 p.m. really you're starting to see rain already on this model particularly. It wants to already bring rain into much of northern and central California. This will be a colder system as well, so it will be able to bring down snow levels. I would guess maybe 6,000, maybe 5,000 feet for the Sierra. Probably just cold enough to snow at lake level for the Tahoe region. You see that dip in the jet stream here. You see a cold front. This is more of a classic winter system for us. Let me just go ahead and show the jet pattern real quick. That's exactly it. There's a cold front, there's a warm front, and another little low over here. It's not marking it, but there's another low here. So there's that cold front, warm front. There's that moisture tab. It's pretty classic. It's not a super cold system, you know, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how that first system is. The reason it's so warm is that it's pulling all this south wind ahead of it. And that keeps the snow levels pretty high, like above 7,000 feet. And then with the next system, one that's coming in on Friday, you see that one is able to bring a little more cold air. It's not a lot, it's not a super cold system. It's not going to snow down to like Grass Valley and Auburn and the Bay Area or anything like that. But it's cold enough that it brings some more cold air here. And it's just cold enough to snow down to, say, Truckee or South Tahoe. Maybe like somewhere like Sun Valley, Idaho would probably get some snow. Yeah. Not gonna be super cold, super low snow, but I don't think it will be. I mean, see this first system, there's just no way around it. It has a so-called warm personality because it's tropical. This is coming, if you track it, it's coming from the south. It's coming from the tropics. It's going to be a warm air mass associated with it. And the one after it is coming from the northwest. It has a colder air mass. It's not frigid by any means, but it's a colder air mass. And that is going to bring cooler air, which will make for lower snow levels. And then, I mean, this is one computer model run, take it with a grain of salt, but this wants to show another cold system around the roughly Monday morning time frame, and that would already be coming into a colder air mass. So this could be, I mean, from just looking at it roughly right now, I'm thinking maybe 4,500, maybe 4,000 foot snow level, maybe a little colder than the last one. And then it's just, I can look further out, but okay, so this is actually, there's a newer run. I was looking at the old run, but it's kind of similar, this new one. Let's see, maybe, yeah, pretty similar for that first two. Those first two systems, even the third one could be a good cold. Looks a little less moist. Maybe it won't get super far south, but still could be a decent. I mean, I don't know. This might be looking a little warmer. Let's take a quick look at that. Yeah, okay. This looks just a tad bit warmer, unfortunately. It's cold enough. It probably snowed down to like 5,000 feet. I don't know if it's gonna snow down to 4,000 feet in this run. I mean, that could still change because we're a few days out, but yeah, I don't know. Something to watch. At least it'll be a decently cold system, one would hope. We'll have to keep an eye on how these computer model runs trend. And then we'd have an inside slider type system. Pretty good, decent to good snow for the Intermountain West. And for California, that would depend. I mean, maybe some snow down to places like Seattle and Portland with this system on the 8th, but that's a long ways out, one deterministic run. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that. You know, if I had more time, I would show some of the other computer model runs, and you know what? Let me look at the Canadian for the heck of it. See, the Canadian, it's a little, let's see here. It's warmer. Oh yeah, it's warmer. It's warmer than the Euro for that system Friday into Saturday. I can see higher snow levels on this. You can see more of those red thickness lines. You can see the 540 thickness line, for instance. On the Euro, it's doing something like this. On the Canadian, it's doing something like this. It's further north. It's a warmer system we would have as a consequence. And then, yeah, like, Canadian, the one behind it, it could be a little bit colder. So that's interesting. So there's little variations like that, model to model. And then it wants that inside slider. So there's sort of somewhat of an agreement with this inside slider, but maybe a little bit off with temperature. The Euro looks a little bit warmer for places like Western Washington and Western Oregon. So less chance for snow in places like Seattle and Portland. On the Canadian, I'm sorry. The Euro looks like a better chance because it's colder. The Canadian is a little milder, so maybe not snow in like Seattle and Portland in the Canadian solution if that verifies. But The euro is a little more optimistic. Let me look at the GFS. The GFS looks pretty cold. The GFS might even be colder than the euro. It starts out about the same, and then it kind of wants more cold air. It wants a lot more cold air with some of these systems. I mean, this is even... Take it with a heavy grain of salt, because it's the GFS looking way out, but 2,500 foot snow level, if that were to verify this right frame here in the GFS on January 8th. But I don't know if that's going to verify, honestly, based on GFS just not doing very well most of this winter. The European and the Canadian have been the more reliable models, unfortunately, because in this scenario, I would much rather see a deep cold storm like this. But realistically, I don't know. I don't know if that's very likely, but the GFS wants to dump a lot of cold air into the western U.S. As we go into the first couple weeks of January here. And the euro's not really buying it. I mean, you look at the euro and it maybe flirts, it brings some cold down on the 8th through the 10th, but look, it's not as deep. It gets as far south as maybe the Bay Area. That's it. Now in turn to the GFS, look at some of this. On the GFS, you're looking at this cold air, the 540 line, for instance, way down into Southern California. Deep cold. This is deep cold. This is also slightly positively tilted trough, which is bringing, it's more of a northeast flow instead of a north flow, and that brings cold air that's been sitting over the continent of Canada instead of from the ocean. With the ocean, it's more of a moderated cold. But if it's continental cold, it's just coming straight down from the Arctic, unmodified by warm waters of any kind. And so it tends to be much colder. It tends to be drier as well. So any kind of rain or snow showers would be more showery in nature. But this kind of setup can still deliver quite a bit of snow to the mountains because the snow ratios are really high in cold weather. So even just a little shower can bring you quite a bit of snow. So I don't know. This is the pattern that I really like. I would love to see something like the GFS is showing right now for the 9th, but I just have to be realistic also, and like the euro is nowhere near that. The euro has cold air way further north. So we'll have to see. And the Canadian was similar to the euro, so yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you were able to get something out of this, and I'll see you next time.